Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about this article released from T-Mobile. So recently, there have been reports that Verizon and At&T have complained to the FCC that T-Mobile is hoarding too much spectrum, that they have too much 600 megahertz spectrum, too much mid-band. So Verizon and At&T have been teaming up. So it seems that T-Mobile has used that and turned it into a positive with this article. So now they're saying in this article, the title reads, At&T and Verizon are feeling the heat of real competition. And what I'm mainly going to ask and what I'm going to put in the title, is this true? Do you guys feel this is really the case? So there's going to be a huge mix of emotions on this. I already know. I know some of you are going to say, this is not true. I'm not seeing it. The network is not getting better. And then there are going to be some of you that are going to be like, yes, I'm seeing it. The network's getting better. Here's just a few thoughts of mine. Earlier today, I was speaking with my buddy Terrell, and he was also confirming to me that in Ocala, I think that's how you say it, Florida, they are simultaneously upgrading 3 sites with N41. He spoke with the tower techs, and they told him they have to shut the site down for 2 days, completely turn it off. That is going to cause major interruption in the network, especially in the more denser urban populated areas where T-Mobile has a high amount of users. Even turning off one site is going to hurt the experience of the consumer immediately. So the network is going to lag behind drastically in a lot of areas as they ramp up this 2.5 upgrades. They are integrating. The 2.5 is coming. It's coming in droves. Starting in October, they're going to flood markets with 2.5 upgrades. Neville stated he wants to have 80 megahertz of 2.5 on air by Q4. So they're going to be very, very busy. But at the same time, the network is going to hurt. So there are going to be literal growing pains with this integration. It's not a myth. It's not made up. It is really going to happen. If you are a T-Mobile user, you are going to notice a big step down in the network over the next few months. You're going to notice it. To some, it may be so noticeable that they switch and leave the company. Literally. It could take longer. In some cases, I've seen this happen to where the site's been down for 2-3 weeks. So this is not something to take lightly. And I'm just going on record letting you know that the growing pains are literally just that. And it's going to be very intensive, in some cases for 48 hours, as they optimize the nearby site to fill in the area where they shut the site down. That site is going to be overloaded. And the network, it's going to be very bad for a good amount of time, just to make a long story short. But also, do you guys feel that a company, cash-wise, that is not anywhere close to what the big two have in terms of money, and they're now technically close to the size of AT&T and Verizon, do you guys think they are really bringing the competition, or would you still side with the companies that have the money that could pull it off? Remember, Verizon did not purchase any spectrum over the last 5 years or so, other than a millimeter wave. They made it work with money. They invested heavy money in infrastructure. They were rolling out densification, small cells, to keep the network above water, and they did so successfully. AT&T has been playing the spectrum game. They're investing heavily on the One Touch project. So the One Touch project was they go to the site one time, they upgrade it with band 14, but at the same time, they upgrade everything else on the cell site. Very smart move, very heavy investment, but they're showing you the proof. It works. They went from, in some cases, from 1 to 2 carriers to 7 carriers of LTE. They're now the fastest nationwide network. And they've been that for the last 4 or 5 quarters according to Ookla. So the proof is there. The money investment goes a long way. Spectrum, of course, it can carry you. It can take you a long way. But again, as I've stated, in a lot of markets where T-Mobile has taken on the additional Sprint users, which, by the way, they have not yet fully transitioned over. Right now, there's only still about 10% of Sprint's user base on T-Mobile's network. When they fully take on the Sprint customers in those areas, they will have grown faster in market share than any other carrier can do in the same amount of time frame. It would take AT&T and Verizon years to gain the market share that T-Mobile has gained technically overnight with this merger. So, again, I can't stress this enough. T-Mobile will have to build a grid that supports the new market share, not the market share that they had as a standalone. So when they grow market share with all the Sprint customer base and still on the same grid of the T-Mobile network, the spectrum will help. Don't get me wrong. But it is going to struggle because you're adding a ton of users into an area where a cell site used to be only for T-Mobile users. Now you're adding another company pretty much of customers onto that same cell site. But you're just adding additional spectrum. Will it work? Yes. But with this, are we really going to see the speeds that they're pushing, that they're saying on average? Maybe not. It's going to be very interesting to see how this really performs. I'm seeing people right now that are telling me, they're like, look, I have 60 megahertz of 2.5 on air. I'm not really liking the performance. So I've written them back and saying, well, there might be some optimization issues, integration issues. Well, months have gone by. The performance has not really improved. And you can also go over to Tech Extremist channel and interact with him, and he will also tell you the same. He has literally seen already early on 60 megahertz of 2.5 or 40, whichever one, congested in his words. So T-Mobile has to invest a lot of money to really bring the competition to AT&T and Verizon, as they're stating in this article. And I will leave the article in the description down below so you guys could check it out and read it for yourselves. But again, in order for this competition that they speak of to happen, they have to really, really increase the capital funding on a yearly basis to really push the competition the way it needs to happen. So you got to build additional cell sites. Okay, this sector is loaded now. Boom, we need to build another site because we've added 14% of market share from Sprint overnight. That's the way the engineers are going to look at it. So they're going to be like, yeah, let's go ahead and add 100 megahertz of 2.5 on that site. Cool. That's going to work. But that's a short-term solution, literally. Once you bring the Sprint customer on board, once you migrate them all over, you learn their pattern, their usage behavior, their data usage, and you're like, oh man, the Sprint customer has been on unlimited for a very long time now, and they're very heavy data users. Now you're starting to scratch your head and like, oh man, we got to build an additional site because these users are pulling data very heavily and they're bringing down the network. So meaning, yeah, we could still see 50, 60, 70 megabits per second on that site, but that's not a real 5G general leap performance and generation. That is just the network barely staying above water to support the additional users that have been added. You want to see, as a consumer, I'm sure, you want to see 500, 600, 700 over a gig per second to really like, okay, I'm on a 5G network. You don't want to get on the 5G network to go back to the LTE speeds. You as a consumer should not want that, and T-Mobile should not want that either. They should want to provide the performance that will adequately make you say, okay, this is a 5G network. This is 5G performance. In some areas, it's going to be very hard for T-Mobile to achieve this once they start migrating the Sprint customer over. And again, I can't stress this enough. There's only right now 10% of that user base of Sprints is on T-Mobile's network. They have opened up the roaming agreements a little more, so that's helping the Sprint customer. And also the T-Mobile customer now, they're able to roam on the Sprint network where T-Mobile doesn't work, so that's helping. But fully integration onto the T-Mobile network only has happened to 10% of Sprint's customer base. When that other 90% gets on board, we will see what happens. Remember, we don't officially know, but when they added that 10%, if you guys remember, T-Mobile's networks, it crashed. There was a huge outage. We don't have an official statement that tying it to the 10% that came over. T-Mobile probably wouldn't admit that, but that likely was a huge reason why the network crashed. So imagine there's another 90% to go. So that's just the point that I want to make in terms of T-Mobile saying that AT&T and Verizon are feeling the heat of real competition. Just remember the size that T-Mobile is now at in terms of subscribers with the Sprint users. Verizon and AT&T have been at that size for years, and they have built their network grid according to that size. So in markets where they have 40, 50, 60% market share, the network is able to handle it because they built out the network. So that's money. That's big money. AT&T is $20 billion. Verizon's around $18 billion. I'm sure that'll go up over the next 5 years. I want to see T-Mobile really compete. I want them to succeed, but we need them to invest more money to keep up with the competition. If not, they're going to be behind in a big way, in my opinion. So I just wanted to make this video to see what your guys' opinions are on this. Is this true? Do you guys think they are bringing the real competition? Do you guys even think AT&T and Verizon are concerned about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. Personally, I think the only thing before I end the video, the only thing I think AT&T and Verizon are concerned is that T-Mobile is going to drive up pricing in C-band. So I don't think they care too much about T-Mobile getting any C-band. I just think they don't want T-Mobile to run up pricing in the C-band auction. That's what I think. That's my personal opinion on that. Because they could, if they participate, they could say, okay, in this county, I'm going to pay $75 million for the C-band, right? And we know how bad Verizon wants the C-band, so they're going to take a deep breath. They're going to be like, okay, I'm paying $100 million. And boom, at that point, T-Mobile just ran up the rates. So I think that's the main reason why both of them are teaming up to complain to keep T-Mobile out of the C-band auction. So again, if you have been on the channel, you can go ahead and end the video now. If you are new to the channel and you like updates and content like this, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you are notified when I do upload the content. Make sure to follow my Twitter as well. I do post the videos on the Twitter. And thanks again for watching. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.